So my grandfather was my hero as a child, and partly because he lived just across the railway line. So we lived here in a relatively new house. There was the railway line and a crossing, and he lived there. There was another crossing here, and I'll come to that in a minute. It was an unmanned one. And so quite young, I used to walk on my own to my grandfather's house. You just did. Maybe I was 5, I don't know, I was 6. And I used to love his company, and he used to love mine. There was a story that, so he was also, I was named after him, right? And apparently he'd said something to my parents that if he isn't named after me, I don't want to see him, kind of thing, right? So I feel, and incidentally, when I used to visit, every time I went back to the Netherlands, visit his grave, it was kind of, I always thought it was slightly odd that my name was on their gravestone, but it also felt really good. So I spent a lot of time with him, and we used to walk with the dog up to the end of the path or the cross, and then walk back, and he used to tell me stories, and I used to stay overnight there sometimes, and he used to tuck me in this bed that I couldn't move, so I just, nothing ever moved, basically. You were tucked in that time. All these really lovely memories, but he made me feel he cared. And I felt that he loved me, you know, and that wasn't elsewhere. So I really felt that he loved me. And I have this, you know, like you have these memories. I have this memory of when I was 9 years old, I was sitting on his knee, and he was wearing his usual corduroy trousers and his cap, and the door behind us was brown, and the chair we were sitting on was blue, and all that stuff, and I can feel the sun on my face. And he said to me at the time, "Promise me you'll always do your best at school." So being 9, you're kind of programmed to go, why? And his answer was, because I don't want you to have hands like mine. He was a coal miner. He was arthritic. His lungs weren't too good either. And I don't know, it struck me at the time as important. So of course I promised. And I think I kept the promise almost all of the time. And what was important about it was that looking back now, it was kind of social mobility personified. You know, social mobility isn't about percentages of youngsters going to university. Social mobility is with the help of the people around you making tomorrow better than today.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're small steps. So it was incredibly important. And then on the 25th of October 1969, at 20 minutes past 11, he crossed that unmanned railway line, and he got killed by a train. He was also impatient. And I remember he was quite slow, and on the way back from church he would just cross the road, and then people would say, "You can't do that," and his answer always was, "Well, they've got more time than I have." And the train didn't wait, right? So I was devastated. To this day, his birthday is on the 7th of July. He was born in 1891. He had this incredible life of being born in 1891, remembering the first car in the village with somebody walking in front of it with a red flag, to going through 2 world wars, 1 depression, radio and television, loving the television, particularly the figure skating. Sjoukje Dijkstra was the Dutch champion at the time, and he died 6 months after the first man landed on the moon. Whoa, right? And so all of that, and he is with me pretty much to this day, where you think, I don't think there's a day that I haven't kind of thought, just very quickly or quite in depth, I don't know, what would you have done, old man, about this, you know? And it's a bit like when you get older, you're not there yet, but I find that I'm talking to myself quite a bit, or to the dogs, right? And I talk to him, and particularly when things are sometimes difficult. And so that's never gone away. And he was my first role model. I wanted to be, because what is a role model? A role model says, I want to be like you. That's a role model.